plenty of headlines predicting 1 billion digital nomads by 2035, but it's difficult to know how many there actually are. This is at least partly because there's no actual international digital nomad census. What's more, many digital nomads choose not to describe themselves in that way, or are only nomadic for a few months of the year. What clearly is that the number of digital nomads keeps growing, while each year there are more remote working and entrepreneurial conferences and a growing number of companies or organizations that are run entirely by online freelancers, workforces such as Fiverr, Upworks and many more. For these freelancer nomads, working from sitting at hammocks or at co-working space in the middle of nowhere is suit their life as free spirit manpower, but there are a lot of factors to consider when deciding where to living as nomad. Of course, white sandy beaches, mountainous landscape and old heritage towns with friendly locals certainly are major advantages, but on this series we're going to analyze cost of accommodation, transportation, internet connection, weather and also other practical key players with some drawback as well. Are you a digital nomad or planning to live as remote tech freelancer? Stay tuned on this series while we're exploring the top 8 underrated cities that you can move on 2022 without any specific nomad visa. So welcome to the top 8 underrated cities for digital nomad in 2022. Number 8. Bansko, Bulgaria. Bansko is a rising star for digital nomads. It's extremely safe, and there's a tremendous sense of community, with range of professions, ideas, and initiatives that emerge from the entrepreneurs who come here will always amaze with breathtaking scenery that you can climb and ski down mountains. There are forests to be discovered, meanwhile plenty of bars where you can cheers couple of beers when got a spare time. These ski town offers hotels, hostels, and Airbnb options. Most of hotels comes with very expensive rates for long-term rentals, with plenty of rooms available for around $1,200 for a month stay, but you can find very reasonable offers if you hunt through Airbnb, which can cost around $700 monthly. It takes roughly 30 minutes to walk from one end of Bansko to the other. All of the locals and traditional structures may be found in the old town. Anyhow, nomads are lured to live near the gondola since it is close to the ski lift and nightlife. Most of time you don't need to hire public transport. Winters are chilly and wet, but the temperature where most of times will concentrate around 10 Celsius, while around summer months May to October will suits best for most nomads. Currently Bansko is offering pretty decent charges for their co-working spaces, around $100 monthly, and these snowy town experiences full 4G coverage with speeds up to 50 megabits per second and can be bought for as little as $10 for 10 gigabytes. Don't miss the opportunity to skiing at Bansko most of the days while perform your routine as remote expat. Number 7. Medellin, Colombia. Medellin, a mountainous city in Colombia, is progressively establishing itself as a key tech hotspot in South America, with a very welcoming expat culture, active nightlife, and fantastic weather. This region is one of the digital nomad world's latest hotspots, especially among beginner digital nomads and expats communities who wish to stick with same time zone as major American cities. Hotels, Airbnb rooms, and apartments can all be found here. For approximately $600 you can get 1-bedroom studios on Airbnb that come with a whole apartment and plenty of modern facilities, while a private basic hotel room might cost anywhere from $400 to several $1,000s each month. Even though Medellin is a major city, it is nevertheless fairly walkable, while for larger distances there is a nice metro network, but taxi costs are rather reasonable, costs less than $10, or if you want to save time then just go for Uber, and there are plenty of direct flights to top destinations around South America as well as the United States. Known as the City of Eternal Spring because of its moderate weather, due to its high altitude and subtropical climate, has a pleasant season all the year, with average daily temperature is around 26 degrees Celsius, while April to November are the rainy months. The city has excellent internet coverage throughout the region, on average download speeds of 22 megabits per second and plenty of free Wi-Fi. Meanwhile, you can choose from a range of co-working spaces for roughly $120 per month, many of which are occupied by digital nomads like you and provide monthly passes as well. In addition, there are a number of friendly cafes that cater to remote employees while being a great place for hang up with fellow nomad friends. Number 6. Cape Town, South Africa. This urban metropolis is a city where the highlands and ocean meets together, with plenty of adventures and opportunities to offer, where digital nomads should have found the perfect work-life balance in these metropolitan, which is just a short distance from beautiful wine region that's surrounded by nature. Although there are numerous lodging options, costs have grown in recent years as for a one-bedroom apartment, an Airbnb property for the month will cost you roughly $800 on average where you can live inside the city center comfortably. Most suburbs in Cape Town are fairly walkable and offer everything that you'll need, while cabs also available throughout the city, although according to some sources, using the Uber app to catch rides is more recommended because it's a bit safer and cheaper with charges around $5 for 10-kilometer journey. Cape Town has pleasant weather all year, with spikes of 27 to 30 degrees Celsius in the summer and lows between 11 to 13 degrees Celsius in the winter. There were plenty co-working spaces available for digital nomads like you, such as big brand WeWork or local unique space as well, with fees ranging at $400 monthly, while the internet coverage on average of 22 megabits per second made these as popular choice for nomad communities. Number 5. Koh Lanta, Thailand. Thailand has long been regarded as one of the best digital nomad destinations due to its pleasant climate, robust expat community, and abundance of welcoming co-working spaces. However, many of these nations' most popular islands are being overwhelmed with tourists, causing the country to become crowded, noisy, and polluted, as well as raising the cost of living. But anyhow, recently the lovely island of Koh Lanta offers all of the benefits of nomad living in here without the drawbacks of other of these nations' more well-known places. Stay near Long Beach if you want to be close to the co-working space and the region where most digital nomad events take place. The further south you travel from Long Beach, these coastal city will be less crowded. Meanwhile, month stay in an Airbnb rental costs on average $600 for a studio unit with one bedroom. If you're staying around Long Beach, it is a fairly walkable area. Otherwise, buses, tuk-tuk or the ride-sharing app Grab are popular choices to get around. It won't cost you much for public transportation here, just around $2 for 10 kilometers ride. Meanwhile, bike rental available for $8 per day, with plenty of bicycle sharing options are encouraged by the local government. The weather here is sometimes could burn your skin, anyhow you won't feel it due the gentle breeze from Andaman Sea circulated on these region, and average temperature is range between 15 Celsius to 35 Celsius. You'll easily find plenty of excellent co-working spaces and thriving coffee culture in Koh Lanta. All comes with great Wi-Fi and awesome coffee, with a month pass here can cost at $200 and internet connection is ranging at 25 megabits per second, depends on the part of the coastal. The digital nomad community is generally very welcoming, so you'll find people to chat with, as well as a productive atmosphere wherever you go. Don't forget to take a chance for scuba diving session when you arrive here. Number 4. Colombo, Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka, a fabled realm of stories separated from India by the Pork Strait and the Gulf of Mannar, is a teardrop-shaped island rising from the deep azure swells of the Indian Ocean. This island is home to a diverse range of ethnicities, cultures, and languages, with ancient archaeological sites, dense jungles, and stunning modern cities. But right now, for past few years, Colombo is a newcomer for catering increased number of remote freelance workforces, for whom most likely love with the slow pace of life on these island. The low cost of living in Colombo may explain why so many nomads are keen to set this island from all over the world. Indeed, Colombo is one of the few places in the world where you can save money without sacrificing quality or comfort, with an Airbnb option for a one-bedroom studio costing roughly $500 per month. Colombo is an easily walkable town, has a good network of intra-city buses operating from the central bus stand, and the city enjoys regular bus services, and passengers can board buses at regular intervals from bus terminals all over the city. For shorter distance journey you'll find auto, a local tuk-tuk will be a reasonable travel mode with charges around $1, depends on distance. Had a blissfully tropical climate all year, in classic archipelago style. During the summer months of May to September, the climate can be fairly hot and humid, but the further inland you go, the cooler the weather gets. Due to the island's proximity to the equator, the temperature remains relatively constant throughout the year. In Colombo, there is a vibrant digital nomad community that uses wide co-working spaces, which costs around $300 monthly, and you can also find decent free Wi-Fi coverage across the city, with average internet speeds of 20 megabits per second that connects you with daily online routine. Number 3. Belgrade, Serbia. Belgrade should be towards the top of your list if you're seeking for a cheap, hospitable, and relaxing city in Europe. Ranks as one of the greenest capitals in Europe, with large natural oases both on the edges of the town and near to the city center itself, with a constantly changing scene of old architectural heritage, museums and parks inside the city center. There are several inexpensive lodging options in this riverfront city, with a low-cost hotel will set you back roughly $40 per night, but for digital nomads who want to stay a little longer, a private one-bedroom rental in central Belgrade with Airbnb would set you back around $550 per month. While Belgrade has an excellent public transportation system, with buses and an underground metro linking all of the city's major regions, while a single trip is fairly inexpensive, costing roughly $1 for 90 minutes and generally paid as you go, which might be confusing for newcomers. Anyhow, this compact city can be easily explored by walking. The oceanic climate that prevails in this riverfront city offering best season for nomads here from May to September, where temperatures are comfortable or warm and rainfall is limited to a minimum. By June, the average temperature in reaches 30 degrees Celsius, while the lowest is 3 degrees Celsius in January. Meanwhile, the weather is most of time playing a big role for digital nomads community. With a variety of co-working spaces and Wi-Fi cafes popular with digital nomads communities, an internet connection is fantastic at 69 megabits per second. Some co-working spaces charge roughly $300 for a monthly membership. However, in any case, there are a variety of cafes that can function as low-cost workplace for you, and the city culture is very supportive by hosting a great environment for you. Number 2. Danang, Vietnam. Danang is exactly would be a blossoming as a digital nomad hotspot with the potential to become Asia's distant worker capital with low-cost seaside lifestyle. If that's what you want for, this perfect spot is recently made as a popular option for the tech nomads from other Vietnamese towns. The mountains form the backdrop for this coastal city, which is bordered on one side by a palm tree-lined on white sand beach. With great Vietnamese cuisine, a craft beer culture, and fast Wi-Fi, life here offers more quality lifestyle. This beach town offers a variety of low-cost lodging options, including gorgeous Airbnb oceanfront flats for less than $400 per month, while a low-cost hotel will set you back around $20 per night. A private one-bedroom in the heart of these seaside towns is maybe the best bargain option for digital nomads who want to remain a little longer. Motorcycles are the most common method of transportation in Danang, but be wary of other drivers, as driving can be a little chaotic around. Mayan is a relatively walkable neighborhood, and Grab, the ride-sharing app, a comparable service to Uber, is used as other alternatives as public transit, while local buses are considered for long-distance transit. One of these places' major plus points is the climate, which is warm and pleasant for the most of the year, with typical temperatures ranging from 17 to 35 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, the dry season lasts from April to August, whereas the wet season from September to March. Danang has considerably good internet availability across the whole city, with average speeds of 12 megabits per second and plenty of free Wi-Fi coverage. You can choose from a number of co-working spaces on range of $200 monthly or around $10 for daily pass. Number 1. Siem Reap, Cambodia. If you're a beginner digital nomad who want to start with tight and minimum budget, then you must come here to establish your nomadic career. Siem Reap is a beautiful tourist hotspot surrounded by rice paddies and ancient temples in northwestern Cambodia that's hugely popular with backpackers and digital nomads, especially known for being the gateway to Angkor Archaeological Park. This is a brilliant spot for anyone with a taste for culture, history, art or food. Apartment hunting in Siem Reap should be uncomplicated if you know where to start, because the city is tiny and compact. Meanwhile, deciding on a neighborhood is much easier than in other places. Most freelancers to here begin their search for lodging on Airbnb or Facebook, but easily you can get a private rental. One-bedroom studio apartment in the city center costs around $350 per month on average. Tuk-tuk are the most common mode of public transportation, with cost roughly $1 per trip. There was no price control, so you had to constantly bargain to get the best deal. Cambodia is your best bet if you're an expat that want to avoid snowy, frigid temperature, as the whole climate is tropical, with mostly 2 seasons of monsoon and summer. The weather remains warm throughout the year, with sometimes will scorching till 38 Celsius anyhow from October until February. The milder monsoon continues with minimal rain between October and November. The average internet speed in Siem Reap is 15 megabits per second for mobile data speeds, and offering few co-working spaces that are beginning to pop up, with different packages that can fit any remote worker's lifestyle and budget for around $80 with monthly pass. There are lots of coffee shops and cafes in the city that are delighted to cater to laptop workers. Please remember to add Siem Reap on your nomad destinations list. You will definitely won't regret.